You're listening to the Deranged Nation, a true crime podcast featuring New York Times best-selling paranormal romance author and your host, Teresa Gableman.
And we are back with Deranged Nation.
We're back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
How's everybody doing out there? Hopefully good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm doing
As
good.
good as you can be in a time like this, you know?
That's friggin' crazy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, we want to say, this is our second take. We're a little rusty. We've been, the last comment that I seen that was made on, I believe it was YouTube, said, please do some more. She enjoyed, and I don't have her name written down, but she enjoyed our podcast and listens to it on her way to work. So we appreciate you.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry we let you down.
Yeah, so we're back. We're back.
Yes, we're working people as well, so we
Yeah,
know
we.
what you mean.
It's been crazy.
Yeah,
It's been crazy.
we've been pretty lucky still being able to work, and I don't know where. I know everybody's scattered all over, but Ohio had been shut down. That's where we're at. They opened back up. Now I don't know what's going on.
We don't even care what's going on.
I think they have canceled Christmas, so yeah.
Don't even get me started.
You can't cancel Christmas.
Exactly. Santa will not be canceled ever. No, it's just a crazy time. You know, it's crazy out there right now. So hopefully everybody's staying safe and all
Keeping
that
up.
stuff. Yeah.
Keeping up with the keep up.
But we do apologize. I know the last one we did, we were like, yeah, we're back at it and blah, blah, blah. But as you guys know, life happens, things happen, and we got a little bit too busy, but we're back at it.
It's my fault. A lot of it's my fault. I've been working a lot. It's hard to get us all four together in time to put one of these together right now. So.
Damn. You took the blame.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Surprised.
pretty proud of you there, buddy.
Somebody had to.
Okay, so this episode that we're doing, we're on episode, is that 16? And this is Killer Cop. And it's the Drew Peterson. And he is not related to Scott Peterson, who I know if you guys are big true crime buffs, you know who Scott Peterson is. They're not related.
Who is he?
He's the one that
Sounds familiar, but having a
kind of did the same thing this dude did. So we'll might do an episode on him because he's a
He's trying
douchebag.
to get out right now, I think.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
He's on
So is
death
this
row,
guy.
I think.
So is this guy. Well, this guy's not on death row, but he's a real treat.
Yeah. So his name is
Something sweet.
something sweet. His name is Drew Peterson. He was born January 5th, 1954. And so he graduated in 1972 from Willowbrook. And I'm going to give you a little bit of his background because it can kind of let you know how smart this guy actually is. I don't even like to say that about him, but he is pretty smart in what he pulled off.
Would have to be somewhat if he was in law enforcement.
Yeah. So he graduated in 1972 from Willowbrook High School in Illinois. He was a cross-country runner. A lot of people said, there goes our security system upstairs. A lot of people said that he was a jokester. He dealt with a lot of stress, when he was in stressful situations by being a jokester. He joined the U.S. Army after graduation and briefly attended college in 1974 before moving to Falls Church, Virginia to train as a military police officer. He began his 30-year career with the local police force in Bolingbrook, Illinois, that's a suburb of Chicago, in 1977. In 1978, he was assigned to the Metropolitan Area Narcotics Squad, and in 1979, he received a Police Officer of the Year award from the department. So, he married his first wife. This guy's been married 4 times. He married his first wife, I believe, right before he graduated from high school.
Yeah.
He had kids with her. They got divorced. Then he married a Vicky Connolly. And he wasn't really too good of husband material.
He wasn't a very committed man.
No.
Well, him and Carol got a divorce because of his infidelity as
Infidelities.
well.
Yeah, he pretty much he was like I don't think he was ever single. I
No.
don't think he was ever single. He was always bam, like getting married like the next week. Shit, the one
Then
lived.
a week later, you had a girlfriend.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, no, he had a girlfriend while he had a wife. He was one of them guys. And for you guys that haven't seen a picture of him yet, he looks like your typical fucking douchebag. Like, you'll see when you see a picture of him. And you guys may even remember all the media. I mean, shit, he was on Dr. Phil.
Oh,
he
yeah.
was on all kinds of talk shows and all over the news and being a fucking goofball and a weirdo.
Yeah, he like thrived. He thrived on
Yeah.
all the media attention.
He was pretty
and-
calm about everything, man, from what I saw.
Well,
He stayed so calm about it.
I'm not going to say how I know, but or who actually, but I know someone. I'm very close to someone with narcotics agency. So, and I know that they are very good at. I mean, they would have to be if you're in narcotics. I mean, you're playing a role,
At lying.
you
and-
know, of being
Deceitful.
being deceitful. So as we get more into what he's done, you'll see what we're talking about. But I don't know, it's like the people in the town really pretty much was like, no, he's a douche. He pretty much did what they said he did. Anyway, so him and Carol divorced in 1980. They had this is important. They had 2 sons, Stephen and Eric. And then he married his second wife, Victoria Conley, in 1982. They actually operated a bar together. And I did you guys see the interview with her daughter?
I actually didn't.
Okay, so she had a daughter from a previous I don't know if it was a marriage or relationship, but the
That
daughter
wasn't his kid.
that wasn't his.
Right,
That
okay.
He was her stepfather.
Right.
And she pretty much said that he was ran the place like military. He was he had been violent against the mother, very overprotective.
Yeah.
Just that kind of mentality.
He wouldn't have divorced so many times if there wasn't an issue with him.
Right.
Think about that.
So she did, Victoria, the ex-wife, she did say that there was a history of domestic violence during her 10-year marriage to him. And the daughter lived in the house with them until she was 17. And, so they divorced, February 18th, 1992. 2 months later, guess what? He's marrying again to a Kathleen Savio,
Savio, that's it.
and they married May 3rd, 1992. They had 2 sons, Thomas and Christopher. And there was a lot of, the cops were called 18 times for domestic disturbance calls there.
That's a
and
lot
then-
of times. Do you know? I wonder how long. Like in a period of time, how many times?
It was it was reported that between 2002 and 2004, police were called out to the Peterson house 18 times on
That's a
domestic
lot.
disturbance calls, including calls for returning children late after visitation and everything like that. So, they had a good relationship up until, I think his relationships were really good up until about a year. And then they started going...
Like he
into
was
the
getting
shitter.
bored or something.
So they split, and what killed me, now I didn't read, I have like different material, but I seen on one of the documentaries, and there is a ton of stuff on Netflix about this, or not next, on YouTube. And then there is also a show or a movie that I just found out about on Netflix called Untouchable. And Rob Lowe and a couple other big name stars play this. And, yeah. So I'm going to definitely watch. I wish I would have known it before we did this.
I wonder if Rob Lowe plays him.
Probably. I would say.
Wonder if he got royalties from it. I bet he did.
I mean, wouldn't you think
Hey,
that they would have
he
to,
would've
with
sold
it
the
being his
story.
story?
Well, you know what? I looked up because...
This is sort of a little Joe Exotic-y a little bit. I mean,
Kinda
without
with
the
fame
lions.
type of stuff.
I like Joe Exotic a lot better,
And
though.
without
He
him
made me
actually
laugh.
making
This
merchandise,
guy, I want to
this guy
fucking...
doesn't make merchandise.
I wouldn't
over
mind
his dead
giving
wife.
this dude a good headbutt.
Well, I mean...
Or a 9.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
You don't remember?
I don't remember.
Oh, see, we're rusty,
I said
guys.
it's not like, oh, I remember. It was like, I said Joe Exotic made merch and stuff to like make money off of. At least this guy's not doing that with his dead wife.
But he did want to do a
dating show.
dating show.
Yeah, that's right.
Shepard from he was before he got canned off Fox.
They decided to not do it. They said it would be bad or whatever.
Well, I don't know exactly what happened to it, but he was being interviewed. Well, let me get to and then we'll go into that. So, what happened was he had moved in his girlfriend into the house that he had been living with Kathleen. And
17-year-old.
she was 17 years old. He was 49. Moved her in downstairs of his ex's house. Well, their house or whatever.
In which her belongings were still even in.
I mean, God rest her soul, Kathleen, but...
No, that's in that.
But then again, she could have been fearful for her life and didn't, I mean... She had gone around and told people that she felt that, her life was in danger and all this stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What were you getting ready to say?
No, I was gonna say what she said with all of her belongings. That's another one. That's like number 6 girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is Kathleen and Stacy.
Okay.
Stacy
Yeah.
lived in Kathleen's basement.
Yeah.
Or Kathleen still lived there.
That's so weird.
Dude,
There's no way.
I
think she was sneaking in, but he had that like real. Did you see in the one documentary that real weird room he had down there with the chain and the padlock and shit?
No, I didn't see that.
You didn't see that?
No, I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
in his basement, he had this room with a bed in it and shit, and it was like a door with a chain and a padlock on it and stuff,
Wow.
like in the basement of the house.
I wonder what
With
that
Kathleen?
was for.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Well, you could take a good guess.
I was just being sarcastic, but
So anyway, him and Stacy, I guess, shit got real. Him and Stacy ended up moving out. They moved, I believe it was like 2 or 3 houses down
Yeah.
from Kathleen, his previous house.
I think I was probably so he could keep an eye on things.
Probably.
Yeah, well, then the Stacy would like go rollerblading past the house in like skanky outfits and shit. And, like
Flip her off.
So, and the thing
That's
is,
crazy, dude.
so, he did retire from the police force
Early. He took an early retirement.
and was given a tax-free $79,000 a year pension.
Wow.
So that's
how?
almost $6,600 a month. So
He was racking up.
so he had money, What'd you say?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
I mean, it's already on record. You might as well just say it again.
We'll just
Yeah, we'll forget it.
move on from that one.
So everybody be rewinding.
I know everybody be like, "What?" I will be. I'll be like, "What? What the hell did he say?" So anyway, we're getting off track. We always do, though. So anyway, he had the boys when they were moved out 2 to 3 houses down. They kind of tormented Kathleen. They would go walking, jogging, riding bikes by the house.
Which is sick to think about.
She, Stacy would be flipping her off.
That's got to be somebody not in their right mind.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there's no way. Let me just...
All right, little recap. So, Drew Boo. So he married Carol right out of high school, divorced her, found Vicky, divorced her, married her, divorced her, had kids. 2 months later, he met and married Kathleen. And all of them now, I couldn't find a lot on the first one, so I don't know if there was any abuse but I'm sure there probably was, but who knows. But with Kathleen, the things that I saw on the different things that I watched on YouTube, it wasn't a good marriage toward the end. And as we said, he met somebody else who was Stacy, moved her into their basement. Finally, they moved out. And when he had the kids one weekend, he went to take them back, said he knocked on the door. She didn't answer, so he brought them back. To his house, took him back again. She still didn't answer, he said. Never called the police or anything, not finding that funny that she wasn't there at her home to get the kids. Ended up asking for the neighbor's help. The neighbor called a locksmith. They went in and he told her, he said, "Hey, listen, you go in first. I'm a police officer. I shouldn't go in if there's an issue," which to me was odd. And even I would be like, you should be the first.
Probably shouldn't go in because I know exactly where she's at. She's in the tub upstairs.
Yeah, I mean,
there was more than one neighbor, I think.
2 of them. It was a couple.
Yeah. There was a couple neighbors because they went different places and was looking.
And I think that
because he told them where to go. He's like, "You go up here and you go over here."
Right. So they unfortunately found Kathleen in a dry, waterless bathtub. And she did have a gash on the back of her head. There was blood. Her death was initially ruled as an accidental drowning.
I think she was face down too.
Yeah.
I think they said they found her face down.
She was completely naked. There was no clothes in the bathroom and no towel.
So
the
water was
I
off.
go into the bathroom
In a dry
with my towel
bathtub.
and my clothes
I do
whenever I'm
too.
taking a shower.
I do too every time.
And so does Cody. And
Well,
I'm sure
some people put the body in the shower or if
Clean
they
it off.
stage that, helps supposedly not leave any evidence behind or whatever. And if you're trying to stage a suicide that way.
But I don't even think it was staged to be a suicide. I think because,
well, the initial autopsy ruled her drowned.
in a waterless bathtub.
Yeah. Drowning, death by drowning. Accidental.
What, did she just be like,
It was said
"Oh shit, I
accidental
just
death by
drowned. I
drowning."
better turn the water off."
I
Yeah, I didn't understand
Well, I think they said that she was taking a bath and fell asleep and slipped in, but there was blood and shit.
She had a gash on the back of her head.
That's what I heard in one of the things was what they were saying.
I mean,
happened. I think he might have said it. I think he might have even said it to the media or something like that. Like that's what it was.
Right.
I don't know. He had a lot of interviews and shit.
Right. So,
which is too much.
Anyway, so they ended up doing, I think she had $1 million life insurance policy on her too.
Yeah, I believe so.
Well, and when in their divorce, they were actually divorced, so he got married to Stacy, but they hadn't split up their property yet.
Right.
Yeah, she was gonna get half of
The
everything.
day of
she was gonna take some shit.
Yeah, she was getting half.
The day of her wake, he went into the house, and I believe it was the day of her wake. He went into the house and started moving stuff out to his house, 2 to 3 houses up the road. Yeah, he's an asshole. But anyway, the one thing about Stacy, she was very young, impressionable, and she got braces. He got her braces, a boob job, tummy tuck.
She was pretty.
She was pretty, but he kind of made her into what he wanted, more or less. But then again, when people ask, she says, "Well, I wanted it too," and blah blah blah.
Well, she started cheating on him. She started cheating on him.
She did.
Stacy.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, she was cheating on him, and he actually was following him around and like caught her multiple times. Because remember, he was saying she ran off with that guy.
Yeah.
And they went and interviewed that guy and brought that guy in and shit.
Oh yeah,
that big hillbilly looking dude.
Yeah.
And shit, I can't think of his name, but But yeah, he came into that restaurant and like sat down next to that guy and her, and I don't even think he said anything. I think he just sat down and made him feel super awkward and left.
He definitely knew how to use mind control for sure. But they actually had 2 children, and once Kathleen was gone, they took on, the other 2 kids. So in total, Stacy, who was very young, was taking care of 4 kids. Her sister, who I really liked, she was kind of badass.
Yeah, she was cool.
She pretty much called him out at everything. But anyway,
they showed up, and
so Stacy started confessing to her sister that, hey, I'd like to go back to school. There's things I want to do that I messed out on. And
she was so young compared to him.
Yeah, she was when they married, she was 19.
That's sick to me.
Yeah. So,
in my opinion,
I think so all of a sudden Stacy ends up missing. And his excuse was she ran off, like you said, with some dude. Well, none of the credit cards were used after she gone missing. Her phone.
Well, 2 days before
her
that,
lawyer.
didn't she talk to the preacher?
Yeah,
somewhere?
she talked to her preacher, and she said that I'm pretty sure that he killed Kathleen. And he kind of got a lot of flack on that because people were like, well, why didn't you go to the police and say something?
Because you're not supposed to when you're in a godly position.
Well, and he's like, I've never been faced. I mean, he's kind of a young preacher. He's like, I've never been faced with that before. And he said, and he asked her what what she wanted him to do with that information. And she said, nothing. I just needed somebody to know. Mm-hmm. And she had told her sister and her mom and different people that she feared for her life. So she ended up missing. And his reaction to all of that was pretty much
too calm.
She ran off. I mean, when they actually went in. He let a news crew go in of the house that they lived in, and was showing them around. One thing that really pissed me off was he said something to the effect of, "When the police came in and went through my house, I felt like a rape victim." He said, "I felt violated," and I just wanted to reach through that friggin' TV and just punch him right in the face.
Yeah, he was definitely.
I'm just like, "Are you serious? You just said that."
Prick.
But he's like, "Well, I don't know if all her clothes are still here. I don't know if I just don't have time to pack everything up, or if I just can't face it." I don't know. It was just, when I was watching that, I was just like,
yeah.
And the one thing is, he started dating other women. He actually got engaged to another girl. And she said he kept talking about Stacy in past tense. Like she was
already gone.
So I don't know. He claims that he's innocent out, of Kathleen. They did, I watched the Dr. Phil thing. Dr. Phil kind of gave him some shit. And then I watched Abrams versus Grace.
Yeah, Nancy Grace.
Nancy Grace. That was a good one to watch because they actually had the preacher that Stacy had talked to,
That's
her
cool.
preacher. They had Drew's lawyer at that time, and that lawyer actually said he knows exactly what happened with Stacy, but because of what is that called?
Client attorney privilege.
Yeah, client attorney privileges.
He couldn't say. Which, I mean, I do understand that because he is still an acting attorney. That is a thing. He said, unfortunately, one thing that we can't bend is that rule.
Well, going back before that, the brother helped him carry out, a barrel, and then, they dug her Kathleen back up.
Well, right.
They dug her back up, and because they suspected after she went missing that he might have had something to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then me and Cody were talking about earlier was that the same homicide, what is it?
Coroner.
The coroner was the same coroner that said Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, seriously. Michael Baden, or whatever his name is. Yeah, he was like a high-profile medical
He was the
examiner.
same one who said she hit her head, right?
Yeah,
and was drowned.
Yeah. Right.
No, he's the one that initially came out and said it was a homicide.
Right.
After they dug her back up,
Yeah.
he was the one that performed the autopsy.
So once Stacy went missing, then they started thinking, okay, there could be something here.
Right.
Actually, and two, Vicky, his second wife, went to the police and said, told the police during their marriage, Peterson had threatened to kill her, and said, I can make this look like an accident.
Yeah.
So they started putting two and two together, and that's when they dug up, which is terrible for the family.
Of course.
Yeah.
So they had to dig her back up and do all
They
that.
filed a civil lawsuit against him too, and I think they.
Yeah.
I don't know what the outcome of that was, but I know they sued him for some money.
Well, I think the civil lawsuit was for him not to get any of the all of the estate. It wasn't really her family. The way the lawyer described it was,
It was probably the estate against
the
him or
estate
something.
was against him, and
Yeah.
that money was to go to those two kids,
Yeah.
Kathleen.
For a
Kid,
trust.
a trust.
Yeah.
That was another thing they had.
And I think that did happen. I thought
it did
heard
happen
somewhere where
it did happen,
and he was kind of pissed because he didn't get the money.
Yeah.
Like, not
well,
all
and
of it. It went to a trust for the kids.
that's when they were doing
Your
that.
kid, so why would you be so?
Yeah, but he's got a
upset
$2
about
million
it?
bond.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, not anymore.
but he did.
He's fully incarcerated.
So,
now.
well, what the lawyer had said, because they had the two boys on with the dad.
Yeah.
The younger boy wouldn't talk. The older boy, was defending his father, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And, and they asked him, what do you feel about this lawsuit? He's like, well, I've never met my grandfather, and I only met my aunt or, the sister of Kathleen, maybe 6 times. He said, but, he was like, I don't understand why they're doing it because he's taking care of us. That was kind of I think it was in bad taste for them to interview the kids.
Yeah.
You're sitting there, your mom's just, I don't know. The whole thing kind of bothered me because.
Father's being accused of killing your mother.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to discuss that with somebody.
Right. But.
Or your brother's mother.
Huh.
Or your brother's mother.
Well,
Right.
no, those two were her kids. Because he had multiple kids.
Yeah.
But he had a set of 2 boys with his first wife, and then a set of 2 boys with Stacy too.
Oh, him and Kathleen didn't have any kids.
I think so.
Yeah, they had kids.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
I think he had kids with every fucking body.
Well, that's what I mean. He was accused of killing.
Yeah.
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 What was that?
So back to the Blue Barrel.
Yeah, so that was actually brought up on the Abrams.
Trying to get that Blue Barrel in
I
there.
know.
No, the Abrams and Grace versus Grace. They had asked the lawyer about that. And the lawyer's like, I don't know where the Blue Barrel came in. He said there was never a Blue Barrel. It was a blue container. And Nancy Grace is like, they have found bodies in suitcases before.
Right.
There's a way to dispose of a body in a suitcase. She gets on my nerves because she's real theatrical, but
Yeah.
she don't mince words.
Yeah.
Right.
She says what she friggin' means, and she don't care who she's talking to.
Yeah.
But his friend, too, came to the house when he was talking about, before she was gone, his friend was talking about, I guess he told him, how do you keep the body at the bottom of a barrel? Because
Yeah.
once the body swells up, so much gas is built up in it, it'll blow. And he said that you use scuba weights. And his buddy looked down on the ground, and
After she was missing.
after she was missing, and there was a bag with his old scuba
Scuba
weights
weights.
in it.
And Nancy
wow.
Grace was like, did you tell anybody? And he's like, well, no, hello, he just talked to you about this.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Everybody said there is something with the Blue Barrel. He says, that, of course, he's going to say they're lying. The lawyer's saying there wasn't a Blue Barrel. There was a blue box. And who knows?
And then there was something about a neighbor saying, or helping him move a Blue Barrel.
It was his brother. His brother.
It
Was
was
his brother-in-law, wasn't it? I thought it was a brother-in-law.
So I think it was his. Maybe it was his brother-in-law. I'm not for sure. It was either his brother or brother-in-law.
But they asked Peterson if he was moving a barrel with anybody or whatever, and he denied all of it too. He was like, that never happened. He said none of that ever happened.
Yeah.
Said he was like taking him to a job interview and he was
Yeah.
high and drunk and
So it didn't work out the way the dude thought it was going to be. And they ended up not even going to the interview because he was so high and so drunk.
Right.
yeah.
It's funny how you can watch so many different things and there are different stories.
And then
'cause
that's
there's a lot on this, and there's
a lot.
Like you have to watch all of it to like almost get the full story.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
Yeah.
some of them don't even tell the full story. That's like when we do these. I don't just watch one thing. I try to like find all the news clippings because there's a lot of news.
Oh, he was all over the place.
yeah.
There's
for
a
little
lot of
while.
news on like YouTube, like even through the trial. But I couldn't find the trial, so I guess they didn't film the trial.
I don't think they did because I
'Cause
love
usually
to.
I like to watch the trial. I like to watch the
Yeah, for sure.
interrogations.
Yep.
Interrogations say a lot, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Sometimes I sit here and just watch interrogations
And be like, oh,
that motherfucker, they're going to get him any minute now, you
Yeah.
know. After about an hour, when they get tired of interrogating, then they start cracking down. Their attitudes change, you know. They start putting the pressure on.
Getting hungry.
Dude says
Yeah.
something wrong, and then they play on it.
Yeah.
But there wasn't nothing on this. I couldn't find any like interrogation videos or anything like that.
Oh, he could have probably had that stuff hidden because he was a police officer, wouldn't you think?
I think
Because if
he
he's
was
locked
so.
up, you
I
have to think about that. Like
I
with him
honestly
being
think
locked up,
he
it might
was-
be a protection
He was
thing.
so. I think he was so confident that they wasn't going to catch him or didn't have evidence on him
Yeah.
that he was just like, oh fuck it, they can't get me. They ain't got no evidence.
Yeah.
You know, hearsay and circumstantial evidence ain't going to convict me.
Yeah.
You know.
So
It did.
in 2008, he ended up getting engaged to Christina Raines. He was still married to Stacy, who is
Missing.
So she, if it would have been legal, she probably would have been his fifth wife.
Well, remember, hold on. Stacy seen him come home the night Kathleen went missing or died or whatever. Or, like, he came home in all black and
yeah.
was washing women's clothes that weren't hers.
That were stained.
That were stained.
Yeah.
And I believe they had blood on
And she said they never talked to that night again. And he said, if the cops ask, I was with you all night.
Yeah.
And that's what makes her think that, you know, he killed Kathleen.
which probably led her to
and
a
what she
preacher.
told the priest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, she was probably getting a little nervous at that point. Like,
Right. Well, there was a
Yeah.
moment that she told somebody that he like held her down in his SWAT gear on the stairs with a knife to her throat for over an hour, and like threatened her and stuff. She told somebody in her family that
I
that she
think
fear for her life over it.
he was just such a
Kathleen.
control freak. He had the
was a
control.
narcissist.
He was
Yeah.
definitely the. You look at narcissist in the dictionary, and his picture, along with some other people we know, his
Yeah.
pictures in the old dictionary. Yeah. But he knew how to play the system for a while, anyway. And I agree with you on that. What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
Cody's over there about to go to sleep.
Wake up. Get up. But
I'm not.
anybody else have anything to add to that part?
No, not that part. No.
And it is, I mean, you're right. It is hard when you watch so much stuff and you get so much information thrown at you. You can sit here like I've got and have papers of everything in a row. And then you're like, oh, yeah, but I remember on that,
Yeah.
you know. So that's
Put
why.
the pieces together, you know.
And
Yeah.
we like to tell you guys, go on and investigate it yourself and go. There is a ton of stuff on YouTube. And then, like I said, on Netflix, which I wish I would have known. But in a way, I'm kind of excited now that I know more about the case. I can go watch this thing on Netflix called Untouchable and see how
Hollywood does it.
how Hollywood does it. Yeah, exactly.
How Hollywood writes the
I know. I'm
story.
curious. I hope Rob Lowe's not him because I like Rob Lowe.
I think he probably is because he's. I mean, I don't see Rob Lowe playing a
Right.
character.
He could be the cop or the prosecutor.
Yeah, could be.
They actually show him going to jail.
So his obviously Drew's heart's broken. So he had to find another love of his life.
After Stacy left.
So
in a
yeah,
barrel.
Yeah. So,
Or a box.
God rest her soul.
Or a box.
Yeah.
So now they did interview the first time that the second wife, Vicky, Vicky. I get confused with all these wives. When she was interviewed, she didn't speak for like 10 years.
Yeah, she didn't say nothing.
She didn't say anything. And then except for what she told the police. And then she did an interview, and they had actually asked her, with these two, how did you not end up in the same position as Kathleen and now Stacy? And she said, because I never went after his money. Mm-hmm. And that was a big aha moment. It's like, oh, okay.
I mean, that's probably
so. That's
what it's always been about.
That's another point of what it was about. Because if you start putting pieces together and realize that he ran, right after she's dead, at Kathleen, and then he's running and getting stuff and moving it to his house. I mean,
well, supposedly he got in trouble in the narcotics shit for tipping off a bike gang about a raid or something like that.
That's another thing. Just slip in there real quick.
I'm sure he was dirty all around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he probably got paid. He probably got a nice little kickback for that one. I'm sure.
Yeah,
untaxed.
That's not Corona. I'm good.
Corona.
Don't think you can say that word on YouTube.
Yeah.
Rona.
Oh fuck.
It's called the beer bug.
So anyway, I keep saying this. Let me get through this Christina chick because her dad's hilarious. So he gets engaged with this Karina. I'm getting
he couldn't even get her name right in the interview.
I know.
Called her Christine and then was like, Christina.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I still love Christine so much.
Christina.
Christina. That
We're
one.
still friends.
That one.
But she was 23. And actually, I really want to smack the crap out of these younger girls. I'm like, come on.
It's so weird.
And they were pretty. You can do better. Other than this turd.
It had to be all money oriented. And that's
Sugar
why he
daddy.
killed him.
He's the
Right.
I know.
Sugar daddy.
But she was kind of odd on some of the interviews.
He's probably just, these bitches want all my money.
She was kind of odd on the interviews, though, because
Get another barrel.
it might have been fear.
God rest their souls.
Yeah, like
We're
5
not
barrels.
laughing.
Sorry.
Dead.
No, I think Christina, when I watched her on the interviews, there was some questions that she wouldn't answer, and she seemed very uncomfortable.
She made it look like she knew something, though.
In
every little, when they would be like, did he ever talk about Stacy? And she'd be like, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
But the way she made her eyes, like, I know something. Like, that's how she acted with that.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
then they asked, were you engaged? And she said no. And she said he told people that he was engaged, but never said it was me.
And he told her that specifically, too.
And she said all of this was a, what was the word she
PR
used?
stunt.
Yeah, for media. Mm-hmm. But her dad, I guess she went back to her ex to get, some stuff to move in with Drew. And her ex, sat her down and said, hey, listen, this is a bad deal. This guy is...
Right.
One ex-wife dead, one missing.
Yeah.
And here you go running, and I guess...
6 months of his wife missing.
And supposedly her dad knew Drew. And had kind of a somewhat relationship.
She was friends with Stacy. Or she knew Stacy.
She did know Stacy.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they helped each other in some way. Her dad and Drew did.
Yeah.
Did something.
But, so he wouldn't, Drew, when she made the decision of not going and living with him and all that stuff, her dad he wouldn't give her stuff back, so her dad went. And that's one that's kind of funny that you guys should watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that one too. Came banging on the door.
But it's In 2009, May 7, 2009, he was indicted by the Will County grand jury and arrested for the murder of Kathleen. Bail was set at $20 million. So after all this shit show for years, on May 7, 2009, Peterson... Yeah, I said that right. Peterson was indicted by a Will County grand jury and arrested for the murder of Kathleen. Bail was set at $20 million. And in October 2009, Peterson sued J.P. Morgan Chase for revoking a home equity credit line that he wanted to use to pay legal expenses, claiming his income of nearly $109,000 per year. So in July of 2010, Judge White ruled that Peterson would remain in the Will County Jail for the remainder of his trial and appeals process. So, because, I mean, he was a flight risk.
Right, of course.
You know.
Especially with all the media.
Mm-hmm. I didn't watch. Did anybody watch a whole heck of a lot on anything about... I know they didn't have the trial online, but he did get found guilty.
Yeah, he got 38 years.
38 years. But
the prosecuting attorney's name was James Glasgow.
And yeah, and good old Drew got busted for plot for hire to kill the prosecutor and got an additional 40 years for it.
I don't think he has parole for either.
No.
He's done appeals.
He's done like 5 appeals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's on his 5th appeal. It just went through June 4th. I don't think anything's going to happen with it.
Yeah.
Unless they change that law.
So this is kind of, I don't know if you guys, I didn't know this until I was doing some articles online. I didn't see this on any of the shows. But Drew's son, Stephen, did you know that he was a police officer?
No.
He, after Drew was arrested, Stephen was fired from his job as an Oak Brook cop because he allegedly withheld information regarding his father's relationship with Stacy after she disappeared. He had stored his father's guns and checks totaling more than $200,000 after his father brought them to him the day after Stacy went missing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I found that doing some digging on the internet. He told Stephen, is it Stephen or Steven when it's, I know that's a dumb question, but S-T-E-P-H. Is that Stephen?
Stephen, yeah.
I think it can be
either
way.
one.
I think
Either
it's
way.
Stephen.
I hate pronouncing shit wrong.
You'd have to ask him.
I can spell, but
Right.
you know.
There's so many ways to
think it's
pronounce
both
the English
ways.
language, though, yeah.
So he told Stephen that there would be a search because the police would go looking for her, and he was worried they might end up damaged. Whatever. And also, Stephen, his marriage ended because of all this. He also took see, I'm going back and forth now.
Yeah.
Stephen continued to take care of his father's other 4 kids, and before Kathleen's children became young adults and moved out. But as of 2017, he was still looking after Drew and Stacy Peterson's 2 kids, who were in middle school at the time. I mean, how terrible. But now, I mean, Stephen had always said that...
Like, you better start sending me a lot of fucking money, Dad.
Well, he kept, saying how his father was innocent, of course, and blah, blah, blah. But, although he recognized faults in his father, he has now come to terms with the fact that his father may truly be a murderer. And he actually admitted that on a Lifetime interview. he initially, believed that Kathleen had drowned, and that, Stacy left him. But I think now that he's pretty much, Dad. It's a friggin' could have been a serial killer.
And he was a cop too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And he got fired. He tried to sue the department that fired him.
Wow.
But that fell through.
Of course it did.
Yeah.
And then, in the midst of the prosecutor, James Glasgow, prosecuting him, Peterson said he was just trying to help a fellow inmate, and I got his name. It's Antonio Smith, the guy he asked to do the kill to hire. That's his name.
Yeah.
And he was saying he was just trying to get time off of Antonio's sentence by giving him a story to tell to authorities. And he had no real intent to kill Glasgow.
That's what they all say after they get called.
That's a tongue twister. Gas glow.
They actually had audio of it.
He knew the consequences.
Heard the audio.
He's a cop.
Yeah.
Of course he knew the consequences.
Yeah.
I don't know. But all of his appeals, he's still in prison. He did get moved out of the prison that he was in to an undisclosed location.
Probably from all the hate mail and stuff.
Well, I know that
He he was getting in altercations, I think, with people in the jail, other people in the jail.
Well, he got hit with a tray.
Yeah, somebody hit him with a lunch tray.
And then somebody else hit
This
him.
fucking guy's a douche, man. As soon as he walks over there, smack him with that tray.
It's a fucking dick.
But there for a while, he
probably
wasn't.
was. I mean, I bet he didn't have too many friends in
Right.
there.
No.
'Cause
He's a cop.
they're probably like,
He's an asshole.
first
I
off,
couldn't
you're a
stand
fucking
him.
cop. You're lucky we letting you
He
live.
was a narcotics cop. Too.
Well, they kept him
Yeah.
away from the general population because he said he only got 2 visitors, but that was only through video. He did get to talk to his kids. I think he said every
It
day.
was probably the guards that fucking hit him with the lunch tray.
Well, that's all he's seen
The
was
food, bitch.
He didn't. Yeah, when you're a police officer, you're kept in an isolation unit. You don't get the chance
Not
to
always.
be in general population.
Not always.
Unless you've been in there after the period of your trial. That's how it goes most of the time. I guess it depends on the state that you're in.
Them all for life.
Well, I would
mean,
love to
I
know
mean,
why they moved him to an undisclosed location.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't able to find out the reasoning
I
behind that.
know a lawyer can file an appeal to get you moved if there's like fear for the inmate's life or something along the lines of that.
Ghislaine.
Yeah, or for getting hit in the head with the tray.
GM.
Yeah.
GM.
But going back to the trial, we were talking earlier, like, they convicted him on hearsay and circumstantial evidence.
But they passed the law.
I know. I'm not saying, I'm not making
I mean, I think it's
claim for
bullshit
him.
too.
It's
but-
just the fact that they never had any real evidence, like, to convict him.
Just
of.
on hearsay, like
Just
you
on
said.
hearsay.
Well, they
and
call that law that they
circumstantial.
passed the Drew law.
Yeah, I know.
Because of
I
him
know.
to do that.
And I mean, obviously he was guilty and stuff, but
yeah, he's
to
fucking
not
guilty.
have any, evidence. I don't understand that. Did they not do a good investigation? Didn't they?
Right.
Didn't they go in and spread that stuff on the tub and see that there was blood in there?
But you gotta remember
Nice, brother.
that-
Oh,
I
it's
mean-
Drew. It's fucking Peterson.
And then
Yeah.
one thing
That's-
we were watching earlier, didn't they say? He said something like, "Oh, they cut his carpet up or something when they searched his house."
Yeah.
It was
he said
his
he
bed.
spilled some Kool-Aid or something over there.
some red punch or something.
Yeah. So it's like, if these murders happened in that house,
Yeah.
this wasn't that long ago.
It
They
wasn't.
did have DNA and
But
You know.
let me say this. Who do you think could get away with a crime
More than anyone.
more
a
than
police
anyone?
officer.
A police
I
officer.
know, but there's you see these things all the time, and there's always some evidence.
And honestly, if he
You know
wouldn't
what I
have
mean?
got
There's
cocky,
some evidence.
if he wouldn't have got cocky and gotten rid of Stacy,
Yep, he would.
he would have got away with
wouldn't have
killing
even thought of
his
looking
third
into
wife. Guarantee it. Guarantee it.
Looking into it. That's
Right,
what
yeah.
sparked the investigation.
No, I mean, like I said, I'm not defending the guy.
No,
I'm
I know
just
you're
saying,
not. I'm just saying
you know,
that.
But you're being logical.
Yeah, I'm being logical.
That's it.
But there's botched shit all the time.
Yep.
But
You
it
know?
was his jury trial too. He was up against a jury
And
trial.
I didn't know that a coroner. I don't know if it's in every state and every whatever. I didn't look
Illinois is
into it.
elected
They're
official.
elected.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't even have to have.
We've voted for coroners before.
But in my mind, I'm thinking
He's an elected official.
I didn't know.
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of.
We've voted for coroners before.
Have I?
Yeah, but usually like there's only one on there. You're like,
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. He's good. I guess he's the coroner.
Him again?
Nah. Yeah.
Fuck.
Shouldn't one be examining him? He's been in there for 50 years.
Somebody's gonna have to take his place.
Jesus. But I don't know. I know this episode was a little jumbly. Yeah, we're a little out of practice, but it's kind of a jumbly
Situation.
Yeah.
situation, and there is a lot of information on this, and you just,
Well, he
I mean,
failed
this
a
is
lie
just our
detector
opinions.
test.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot on this. There's a bunch
Well,
on
It was
this.
80% true, 30% negative. or
And I
whatever.
think they actually found a body on the riverbank or some bones.
With a blue barrel.
Well, it wasn't with the blue barrel. The blue barrel was, I guess, down the river some or something. You know, but I think they determined that it wasn't her.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
said it
It
was.
wasn't her. So
Well,
it's,
They still haven't
and
found
I mean,
her.
she's still missing, yeah, to this day.
But the thing that bothers me, and I keep going back, and it's important because it's a good one to watch, the Abrams versus Grace. That lawyer, he ended up quitting, being Drew's lawyer. Sorry, I had a hard time spitting that out for some reason.
Didn't he say he got scared of him or something?
No, he didn't get scared. He said I couldn't trust him.
Yeah,
He
he
said
couldn't
I'm a
trust
lawyer. He said, and if you can't trust your client or your client can't trust you,
Yeah.
he didn't like him. But he also, and I don't know, there was a couple things, and I'm just like this. They are showing the whole panel, and even Abrams and Nancy Grace. But I'm watching the lawyer, and as they're talking about Stacy, you could just see him just kind of staring. Mm-hmm. He wasn't even
yeah.
looking. And a human being, I mean, you're a defense lawyer, and that's your client. But when you know something, he knows that she's dead. He said, I know what happened.
Yeah.
I just can't say what it is. I mean, that has to eat at your soul. And
Yeah.
you could just tell by watching that and seeing, I mean, that's the feeling I got. I thought, dude, this is eating you alive.
Yeah, being a lawyer can't be easy. Not a lawyer on that side.
Now,
anyways.
Nancy Grace did say something, and I thought, why hasn't anybody done this? The only way that he could say something, I believe, if I could be wrong, if I am, comment, is to go up in front of a judge to be
Then he would
asked
have
that
to.
He would have to
question.
be like subpoenaed probably
Yeah.
to
Fucking do it.
put under oath.
To find this poor girl for her family.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
but-
I would
but
probably
then
have to
they're-
quit being a
I
fucking
mean, it's
lawyer
kinda like-
because,
yeah.
sorry.
They're
But-
kind of
but
probably
they
like, we
kind of-
already got him.
They swear kind of an oath to their client.
Well, he
which
said that is
you
the
would
one
want
thing that you
too.
can't
I mean,
bend.
when you have an attorney, you don't want them.
No, I don't want
You
them
know.
saying shit to
But
anybody.
I'm also not killing
So,
anybody.
No.
Yeah.
So
I don't,
Anyway.
yeah. I mean, I get it.
I
But
think
that's
they even asked
major.
him like, if this dude dies tomorrow, would you come
An
out
audience
and-
member said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. An audience
Maybe
member.
he will, and maybe we'll talk about it in the future.
He
Maybe.
just said that
He was
when
older.
He said
And he's only getting older, and
when-
it's hard conditions in there.
He said when Drew dies, that's when people will know what happened to her. And I can only understand.
Did he say that?
Fucked up.
Yes, he did.
Did he say that?
Yes, he did. He said that more than once.
That's so fucked
And that's
up.
why they ask. Or
Yeah.
in that it was a guy in the audience said, if he was to die tomorrow, are you going to come out and tell us what happened? And he said, I'm just saying that everybody will know what happened when he's gone.
Dang, that's crazy.
So could you imagine how the
I'm
family,
forward to hearing
tuned.
that. I'm sure the family is definitely eager for it.
and this is kind of like what I don't know exactly when this happened. It was before he went to jail, of course, but he was on a radio thing, and the sister called in, and oh my God, she was just saying, "You're a murderer. You killed my sister. Tell us where my sister is." And he was telling the radio host, "Hey, I don't like being ambushed." And he's like, "Hey, we didn't ask her to call in. She just called in. This isn't an ambush."
Yeah. It could have been anybody.
But and this is why he's a narcissist, because
it wasn't his fault.
Yeah, and then when she called in, he was saying things like, because the host said, "Have you even seen the kids?" And she's like, "No, he won't let us see the kids." And he's like, "Well, that's because you're a bad driver." And I'm like, "What the fuck does that have anything to do with,
Yeah.
Then let her just stand there.
Because it's everybody else's fault why you can't see the kids or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's because she knows.
Yeah.
She said the exact time. She said, "You killed my sister between the hours of 10:51 to 11. That's when you killed my sister." Because I guess they were on the phone or something, and that was the last time, I guess, that anybody
and she's
had.
Probably supposed to call her back.
Yeah. So I don't know.
But fucking 3 of them all said, "Hey, if anything happens to me, it was probably this motherfucker."
Yeah. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish that lawyer. I don't know. I don't know exactly the rules and laws and ethics on that stuff, but dude, and I've even said it to you. That's one thing that I would have liked to have been, but instead I did hair, drove school bus, did screen printing and karate schools. So I never had time to be a lawyer. But, man, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah.
If
in
I
cases like
knew.
He probably told him on purpose, too.
Yeah.
Drew did.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
a dick like that.
Trap
so,
him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And I would say there's other murderers out there that
Oh, for
know
sure.
that rule or whatever the hell it is.
I wonder what the consequence to that rule is.
Probably be disbarred. They'd
No,
probably
for
be
real.
disbarred. They'd probably lose their law. But, I mean, no, this guy has no respect, does not. The one thing that and he did apologize, that lawyer. What, does anybody know his name? I don't even have his
Brodsky.
Yep, Brodsky.
Okay.
That's it.
So he did get called out because after they did the jury selection, they were asked questions about Stacy's disappearance, and I guess they were co-lawyers or something.
Yeah, it was
with him.
It was his legal team.
Yeah, and they were like, she ran off with somebody. And they're like, yeah, but she hasn't used her phone or talked to anybody from her family for years. Had it been years? I think it had been years. I think it had been like a year after.
Yeah.
But anyway, and they started, I haven't talked to my wife in 2 weeks. And, just laughing and kind of making fun. And it pissed me off. And on Nancy, and he actually apologized for that. He said that was in bad taste. He said, after a long day of jury selection, we have been asked that question 1 million times, and we were just kind of fed up. He said, but that's not any excuse.
That's crazy.
But, yeah, I don't know, it's pretty sad. There's a lot of kids, that
Don't have any parents now.
don't have any parents now. And just because of one dude's, narcissism and...
Mental issues.
Man, I'll tell you what,
Yeah,
narcissists are...
Crawling around here.
But, I mean, I've dealt with one, and I'll tell you, I'm not going to say who it is, but Yeah, it's kind of scary. The way that they can make you think that you're the problem.
Sometimes
And
you
that's what
believe
they
it.
did. You know, that's what he did. But anyway.
Yeah.
What? I know. I know.
Sorry about that.
My bro.
I haven't been able to take a drink because I got my mic all
I know.
locked in here. I can't move it.
Wait,
My voice is a little hoarse. Oh, why? Thank you.
Aw.
My beard's rubbing the. My
I
beard's
know.
rubbing the mic. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
So anyway, this is our
Our comeback.
our comeback. We kind of did a complicated one for our comeback, didn't we?
Not
Yeah.
too snabby.
Yeah, but it was a good one. Thank you, Cody.
Yep.
It was a good one, and
Like, comment, subscribe.
Click that notification bell.
Yep.
leave nice comments.
Listen to us
guys.
on your way to work.
Yeah, listen to us on your way to work.
Find us on Facebook and Spotify and iTunes and Buzzsprout and Anchor.
And be nice.
Make good choices.
Make good choices.
Don't be our next episode.
That's right.
Deranged Nation.
You've been listening to the Deranged Nation podcast. Join us every Wednesday night for a new episode as we bring you true crime, unsolved mysteries, and other deranged stories. This episode was sponsored by Braps MX and ATV Pro Shop. Visit them at brapsmx.pro. Also, visit our host, teresagableman.com, New York Times best-selling paranormal romance author of the Protectors series, available on amazon.com. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.